uh, we we kind of have a different way of seeing things, which is really good because we plan our things different and we brought it together. For the first question, we're kind of trying to find out how, as a presidency, we can share the vision of the mission of BYU Hawaii. We first thought about being a good example to the presidency in acting on things that we've said and things that would plan our Sundays activity will focus on those visions. But we just noticed that as the way the club is organized, according to the BYU policy, we have 3 VPs: mentorship, fellowship, and placement. So at the same time, you have 3 visions, which is learning, building, and leadership. So we plan to share those 3 visions in those 3 VPs and have them now, every one of them, work specifically on those visions and then report back. So if they report back with those visions, then we'll know from their ideas how we can now move it next step to the members. And again, for the presidency chapters, how we can then use those same vision and help members. It's a little bit different in this case because each chapter has its challenge and the way we have to do it. But to give a brief summary, we realize that activities also can help and change things. I'll give an example of the Latino club, which is known to be just a club of party and enjoyment and dance. That's what the president said. I'm just restating it. So, and the president, for instance, gave an example of being changing the whole vision as not only enjoyment, but also building, also leading, also helping other people. We've learned or thought about how people just come in and just speak majors because they love it, which is good. But at the same time, as a club or chapter presidency, you can help those people catching a vision of 10 years from now, 5 years from now. What would be your home country? How can your major fit in? Those are the jobs you can do here by investigating and doing research and training. One thing that is really similar to what the first group have said is that we're receiving a training here which is really good. But how about the members? We want them to be leaders. So it's kind of inviting people like you coming into our clubs after we have organized and planned an activities, which is a training activity, to come over and train the club members. We can do it as a president, but also having an outsider resource to come and help might be very useful. There are a few things like that that we've thought about, and we believe if we implement them, that'll be good.
Good deal. Wow, thank you. Thank you very much. And just to plug, the setup we have here is we have a class. But anytime you need support from the alumni office, particularly this is my assignment. This has been my training since I graduated at BYU Hawaii back home, even up to last week. Well, we just got back last week from Congo doing a training program for the people there. So just to let you know, after the class, if you're at a presidency meeting or you need training, let us know. And we don't have all the answers, but we can definitely find the resources that can support your members. So hopefully you took notes. That's one of the idea why we're having this training is to make everything efficient for you guys. Hopefully you won't be a one-man show for your chapter presidency because we can already predict your future. If it's a one-man show, you'll get burnt out the next few weeks. So, next group, please. Go, Eric.
Actually, for our group, we share pretty much almost. It's really rare because we share almost the same idea about how to, as a president, help the presidency share vision of our group. For China and the Hong Kong Club, we did almost the same thing. We will organize a kind of a committee training meeting, which is mandatory for all the committees. And so within this training meeting, we will just invite all the people and prepare food for them and make them feel it's home. Usually we will hold it during the Sunday. So it's afternoon, it's after church. Everybody will be really flexible with time. So basically what we'll do is like we list all the coming events and invite everybody to discuss about the details and share their thoughts about all the events and get feedback. After that, I probably will just have a kind of short training meeting. For like a couple of weeks ago, we had a training meeting for how to do your proposal appropriately. That's what we have done. Because I noticed there have a lot of new committees who just joined our club. They don't really know all the procedures about how to organize the activity from zero to, from A to Z. So I just help them with how to, the procedure of how to get a signature from like the presidency, the advisor, and the treasurer, and how to write a budget, how to manage your budget, and how to describe an event, and how to hold the event like off campus. So those specific stuff. And we also shared how can we as a presidency to help our chapter members to follow up the mission of our school. We list couple like examples. For our chapter, it's like we organize like open social and something else to gather all the people together and share their thoughts and help them to develop their relationships with each other. And after that, we will help invite people to share their thoughts after the event. So basically, even if spiritual or other things, it's both fine. So because at least you are involved. That's the most important things. And for Samoa Club, they did really good, especially for the president. What he did is like, they notice if there is somebody who is not really active in the activities, for example, like church or other stuff, we will just arrange some duty for this guy. So let this guy be involved more in the activities. So he probably will feel more like responsibility. So yeah, and the result is really helpful for people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much. Just comment on that is I think it's a good sign that you're all seeing the same things. It means it's not as weird. It means that you are sharing the vision. So that's a good sign. Thank you. I think the Filipino girl was picked on this group,
Yes.
so.
Forcefully. Anyways, in our group, our shared vision is to bring home great leaders in our own country by good examples, by meaningful activities with purpose, by trainings and improvements of skills, and by good food. Okay, in line with what Noah was talking about, like assigning our vice president with a specific task, like for what we did, like for example in the Filipino club, one of our, for the career, for the placement, our vice president is working on our career research. For example, we will gather together and then we will research our own country and the possible internships and then the opportunities that are available in our country so that as we study here, we'll be prepared to go home. And for our spiritual aspect, for the Gospel Forum, instead of just having speakers, what we're doing is we're having a group activity just like how we did on our mission. Like after the speakers, we have our practice teaching or how will you apply the thing. The things that you have learned. And then for our opening socials and closing socials or any activity like sports or any other special activities for each club, we will be sharing our cultures with other people. Like we will include like one thing from our own culture, so when people come to our activities, they will also learn from our own culture. And another thing is like for us, like before this class started, like for the Filipino club, we did like the new student orientation. It's like exclusively for Filipino students. And we have like we have an orientation with our new students, and we gave mentors for each major so they can succeed and they can have like they will know what resources they have as they study in BYU. And we had like financial trainings because most of the Filipinos, like what you were talking about last time, like if you were born poor, you have to die poor. So what we did is like we had like a financial like budgeting that we explained that if you do this, you can actually save money, and then when you go home, you won't be scared to go home because you have something to start off. And so that's what we did, and that's it. And else? For the Indian club, they have the and they want to increase their love for their culture. Because you know, sometimes when you're here in BYU, you tend to forget your own culture because you're like super exposed to everything. So by having like activities to like promote love for our own culture, it's like to go back home because you know we're preventing to start to stay in America.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I'm sure our manager is here, Corbin. I'm sure he'll share the same feelings I have. Like, it's amazing to hear from you of what your plans are and what you probably some of you have done already. And as emphasized, may all the trainings, our understanding, vision flow down to our chapter members. So it is only after we share that vision that you can really have the support of your members. Let me just share one vision with you guys that we can probably start developing a habit. I know in our office we're also still working on it, but we're now called chapters. So we can, and there's a purpose for that. And we will discuss that a little bit further. Let me now share with you what one man or woman can make the biggest difference. History have shown it. I'll show one quick video right now, one of my favorite leadership videos. This was in the history recorded in Scotland by Sir William Wallace. Anyone familiar with Sir William Wallace? You probably watched Braveheart, yeah? So good. I'd like to watch the video and just try to see what you can make a difference. It may not make that much effect on you right now, but after this video, we'll discuss very short, specifically, what difference you really can make in the lives of your members. Excuse one word that may go to the honor code. So, but the message.
William Wallace. Can't be. We'll call it up.
He says this must be a fashionable fight. It's drawn the finest people. Here is thy salute for presenting yourselves on this battlefield. I give you thanks.
This is our army. To join it, you give homage.
I give homage to Scotland. And if this is your army, why does it go?
We didn't come here to fight for them.
The English are too many.
Sons of Scotland, I am William Wallace.
William Wallace is 7 feet tall.
Yes, I've heard. Kills men by the hundred. And if he were here, he'd consume the English with fireballs from his eyes and bolts of lightning from his arse. I am William Wallace. And I see a whole army of my countrymen here in defiance of tyranny. You've come to fight as free men. And free men you are. What will you do without freedom? Will you fight?
Guess that? No. We will run.
We will live. Aye. Fight and you may die. Run. You'll live. At least a while. And dying in your beds many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our wives, but they'll never take our freedom!
I hope that you would be able to declare to your people, because there is no coincidence that you are the chapter president right now. This school is special. If you haven't seen it, I invite you to open a little bit more. But I hope you will be able to declare that I am Joni Briones, and saying all your names, and understanding that you do have a mission, that one person can make the biggest difference, even command a whole, the members in your chapter. Let me just, I want us to talk about right now. I'd like you to ponder a little bit and start thinking, what could possibly be something specific that you can make a difference in the lives of your chapter members. Try to travel with me in the future. Can you see what you're doing in the future and making a difference, living the mission of BYU Hawaii? And most especially, through you, can you see your chapter members also doing other things for the world? Do you know any alumni from your area? What are they doing now? It's kind of hard to see the future at 10:15 at night. No, but just give it a chance. What was the question again? The question is, what can you see in the future that you're doing? Personally first, and then what makes it rewarding is, what can you possibly see among your members that they'll become in the future? And that at some point you have made a difference in their lives because of your leadership right now. If it's hard to see for yourself right now, think of any alumni. Do you know of any alumni that is successful right now? What are they doing?
So like, I was thinking about like I want to talk about like what the alumni have been, gone home. Like for example, my cousin, he used to be here like when I first got here, 2009. Now like I can see that he was a chapter president as well. He worked really hard. He's doing really good in school, and he tried to unite all the club members so that we can learn. And one thing I try to do is right now is like, because what Indonesian club has said, something that I really like, that's all we have. We far away from home. It's people that all we have, we have family. So what he did, he have family home evening. It's kind of like we get together on Sunday, we talk, and we help each other. And there's many that we come to find they struggle with something, we help them, and then they can go through all the problem. So now I can see like a lot of people who graduated, most of them were like, they not just have a good job because they have principal, but they also like, before I seen them, those who've been on mission and down, they go together every week to temple. They sacrifice that time to the temple so that they can be endowed by with power. And now my cousin is like one of in the state high council. Even he like only 29. Like a lot of people that he helped, they're not even have a good job. Some of them have family, but they also helping the church growing because they become a leader. That this school not only give education, but strengthen spiritually, so that we can build the country and build the kingdom of God. So that's what I have seen.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. And if you could only see a database of our alumni and what they're doing right now, course, we're not perfect, but we have the vision of President McKay is true, that men and women are going forth and establishing peace internationally. So I propose that you put it in your vision right now, your personal vision. You have quite a number of people in your chapter. You can never measure what they can do in the future, but what a blessing it is to know and feel right now that while, in the words of President Iron, when he was talking to the seminaries and institute teachers, while they are with us, let's really give our best. And maybe start by giving them a shared vision. This is awkward for me to say, but I think it's imperative for someone who stands in front of people to somehow share and give a little bit of credential. I graduated in 01, and all I had when I left and back to the Philippines was my faith with the vision. I have no idea what is to happen, but the past 10 years in the Philippines, it's just been, I don't think anyone could have ever accounted for what the future holds. But I got involved in CES, and it helped quite a lot of youth and single adults. I've been asked to speak and was teaching in CES for a few years, and I brought stories and experiences from BYU. I was a storyteller, and what a difference that made. The past 10 years, I also got involved in teaching entrepreneurship. I got involved in spiritual, and then we went around the Philippines teaching entrepreneurship as far as self-reliance. For those who may, for probably a lot of you know that the Philippines is struggling in its economy as well, and that goes with our returned missionaries. I've been blessed to have the trust of the Lord to serve in capacities such as, before I came here, I served as a bishop in a home ward. Before that, as a counselor in the state presidency. And up until you really are face to face with people, and you find yourself sharing what you've learned at BYU and seeing the difference that it makes, starting with our members and even potentially others. And just like what I mentioned, never in my wildest dream that I'd be able to go to Congo and offer some of the things that has blessed me as an experience. So all I'm saying, my dear friends, while you're here, from someone who has seen it, the vision of President McKay is true. It's up to you now if you'll embrace it or not. For those who will embrace it, they will see what that means after. And so, thank you again for all that you've done. By the way, for those who haven't claimed their coupons, ice cream coupons, that you can claim them after so that you can still enjoy ice cream with your presidency and refine. For those who have done their vision, refine it. For those who have not yet had a chance, the purpose of this is to get it down with them. So we invite you to continually refine the vision and have specific plans. For example, on top of everything that has been shared, the Gospel Forum might be a spiritual way of helping them understand it. Some ideas that had come is use one Gospel Forum to talk about the mission and vision, and then see how it make a difference. Let me share lastly, and then I'll introduce our lesson next week, and I'll give you a list. Correct me, well, I don't know, just think about this. Anyone leaving BYU would be happy to have a degree that they have. And then, hopefully don't take this in a negative way. My observation, personal observation is, and then they'll have the shock of their lives. Because as you graduate and present yourself to the real world, you really need to sell yourself. Because they demand a lot. And so just imagine, through your efforts right now with all the plans of careers type events, give them the experience, give them the experience and preparation so that hopefully they'll minimize the shock when they go out and they really sell themselves you will be surprised how different the world outside of BYU is. And so the best way to do it is to prepare. And that's why leadership is a lot of work. So thank you for your commitment. For the next few classes of semester, for the whole semester, we will try to incorporate a lot of relevant and valuable skills. Before we go to that, Corbin printed out a list here for those who have not yet planned their Skype events. In that list are all your support specialists and your chapter chair back home. We highly recommend that you, as you go about your Skype and Skype event, maybe the first person you want to Skype to is the chapter chair back home, so you can make that connection.
This list also shows the number of alumni in all the chapters around the world on the far right column.
So just to introduce our, I know we already are feeling how heavy our responsibilities are, but let's take them one by one. So to introduce next week's lesson, I would like the office would like to give a free shirt to any takers of our last activity. Our last activity is simple. I'll throw the task is to be able to catch as much as balls as you can, right? So do we have any taker? All right, we can have as many people. We'll only choose those who catch the balls the most to win the. So we'll do this in the last 5 minutes. So who? Yeah, you just come here.
We're gonna fight.
One by one. No. For example, not stand here, and then I'll throw the balls to you. You catch as much as you can. Okay?
No way.
No way!
Yeah, you got 3.
4.
Oh, 4.
I got 4.
Okay, next taker.
This one.
No way.
What's the next one?
I'm on 5.
Next.
Can you just use your hands or can you use them?
Just hands.
Just hands?
That's a good idea, yeah? Our lesson next, right now is for hands.
Is only hands?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, my arms.
Everything?
1, 2, 3. How many?
Oh, 2.
2.
Hello.
All right. One last one, and then we can continue after.
Try this.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
Go for it.
1, 2, 3. Oh, 4.
On time.
All right, we'll continue. We'll close and then we'll continue for those who are interested in the shirt.
What's the shirt say?
The shirt says, "I'm cool."
This all shared.
Showing Alumni Association.
This all shared.
And we have quite a few of this for the rest of the semester to give. But for those who have tried catching the balls, what lesson do you think we'll be studying next week?
Delegation of power.
Delegation of power. We have most of the lessons are geared towards us, you and me. How can we through these trainings develop yourself? Is this the only thing that you're doing for this semester? Being a chapter president is your only responsibility?
No.
No. What else do you have?
School.
School? Your calling?